In today's episode, my guest is Christina Collignon, the Content Marketing Manager at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services California Properties. We discussed the integration of AI in real estate marketing and focusing on how agents can leverage AI tools to enhance their social media presence, create content efficiently, and overcome the fear of using new technologies. Tune in. Are you a real estate agent eager to unlock the power of AI to boost your productivity and scale your business? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash, the weekly podcast that takes AI from a buzzword to a business tool, making it approachable and actionable for agents like you. I'm your host, Rajiv Sajja, and each week I interview agents from across the country who are using AI to transform their careers. Join us on this journey to become an AI skilled agent and take your real estate career to the next level. Now let's get to this episode. Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash. Today is going to be a good one because we have Christina Collignon. She's a content marketing manager and she's been at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services California Properties for 9 years. So the reason I'm excited about this episode is because Christina, being a marketer, she's using AI herself for her role. But also part of her role is to educate agents. So we're going to pick her brain about what are the key things agents are kind of getting started with AI. So all of that. So you're going to love this episode. Welcome, Christina.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Rajiv.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, depending on when we air this episode. Christina, I'd love for the audience to kind of get to know you a little bit. And you've been with California Properties for 9 years, but how did you get into real estate? What did you do before?
Yeah, I actually ended up in real estate kind of by accident. I was still a student in college when I started working here as a temp and had a friend that kind of referred me to the position and was doing all sorts of odds and ends, but really was drawn to anything to do with writing. So blogs. I was also very involved in social media content. So when we first started, we had maybe 400 followers on our social media accounts and we had zero budget for it. So kind of been great to see the evolution of social media, how it was not very important to now it's extremely important in everything we do. So it's kind of how I found myself here at California Properties. And I love it. I focus a lot on video content now as well as social media.
Nice. I'm sure we'll get into it in terms of how AI is helping you. So, it's crazy that we've been on this 2-year, I wouldn't say roller coaster ride, but fast ride, speed ride. From the time ChatGPT launched, like Thanksgiving 2022, we're coming up on 2 years. So what was your first introduction to ChatGPT and your aha moment? Oh my God, this can help me.
Yeah. Well, I was hearing about it a lot. And I think honestly, my biggest aha moment was when I attended our marketing forum earlier this year. And you were one of the speakers and you gave such a great overview, but I also kind of got a little scared because I was like, oh no, I need to be using this way more than I am. And I was nervous because I wasn't exactly sure how to use it, but it kind of reminded me, since I coach so many agents with social media, they have a similar fear to social media. They know it's powerful. They know they need to be using it, but they don't know where to get started. So I kind of was like, okay, I need to treat ChatGPT and AI and all that like I'm coaching agents to cheat social media. Just jump into it. And I think after Marketing Forum, I went home and every day was using ChatGPT and then started adding more and more of it to my strategies. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. And, I think that you make a good point because I think as far as in my lifetime, I don't know of a technology that's growing at such an exponential pace in terms of evolution. I mean, just recently, the O1 preview got launched where it was a reasoning model. I don't know if you heard of that, but just launched and it can reason like a PhD student. PhD capability, and it'll actually think before it responds versus just scouring the internet and kind of giving you a response. So I think there's a lot going on in the AI space. And if you're listening to this, like Christina said, if you feel FOMO that you're missing out, don't worry because nobody's keeping up, right? And our goal of this podcast is to truly make it approachable and actionable for real estate agents like yourself that are listening. So great, Christina. So let's kind of dive in. I think there's two aspects I'd love to dive into. One is you're training agents. You're on the front lines of introducing AI to your agents at California Properties. What are some of the things that you feel like you're doing that are resonating with agents, overcoming a little bit of that fear that you talked a little bit about in your personal journey? What are some of those things and how are agents embracing it?
Yeah, so I work in content marketing. So a lot of my focus when I'm working with agents is how to help their social media, because that's the biggest question anytime I go to an office. Like, I don't know where to get started. And I think a big thing with ChatGPT is just knowing what you don't know so that ChatGPT can help you with that. So, for example, the other day I was putting together a presentation and I just asked it, what information do you need from me as a real estate agent so that I can create a great social media campaign? And it came up with all the different items that it wanted, like information that it wanted from me, and then you can add that in. So my biggest thing with agents is they think it's unattainable for them. They don't understand it, but it's really built for everyone, and you can just ask it questions. And if you don't like the answer, keep tweaking it. So I think the best part of it is that you can have like a personal trainer with you at all times. I learned so much from it. It also kind of helps validate some of the ideas and strategies that I have if it comes back with those, or I can massage them out a little bit more. So I love telling agents, like, just ask it. What do you want to know? What do you want to improve? And it'll start helping you with that.
Yeah, definitely. And you make a good point. I mean, I've found out that ChatGPT and tools like that, Gemini, Claude, all these large language models are like a golden retriever. They like to please you instantly. So, but to your point, asking it questions and really iterating on the responses, I think gets you to a better place than taking what it gives you immediately. So
Absolutely.
I think learning the prompting and all the things that we talk about in the prime prompt polish and publish foundation, I think will help people elevate their usage and get the right responses out of it. So that's social media. That's a good starting point, because I think most agents today, if you look at the NAR results, they're all doing some level of social media. So leveraging AI, you can elevate the use of social media, idea sharing, etc. What else are you seeing agents embrace?
Well, I think especially since content, it takes so much time to come up with what you want to post, and then you have to either film it or create it. I think one of the things that's most useful is you can upload reports, you can upload videos and have them analyze it. There's only so many hours in a day that I can spend watching videos, or you get your market reports. So one of my favorite things is taking those reports and coaching agents to then, how can you hone this into your target audience, whether it's a specific location or maybe it's luxury home buyers. And you can take that data and create campaigns so that you're not just having like a general, overview of the report, but then you're honing it down into your location. And again, that's all things that agents probably could do on their own, but it saves so much time because you're not having to do all the groundwork, because then you still have to film it or get it into design and post it and all that. So that's one of the things that I've seen a lot of help with, that we like to do. And then also, in terms of video, you can turn that into a short reel as well. So if you don't want to do a social media post, you can do a video.
If you had to guesstimate an agent leveraging AI for content creation, for all these platforms, I mean, now we have so many platforms, right? You got to, write an email about a market update, or, a viral video, a reel, long form video, short form video, social post, captions. What kind of hours do you think agents could save if they actually embrace even AI at that basic foundational level?
Well, I know how many hours I'm saving,
Yeah,
so I
let's talk
can
about that.
imagine. Yeah, and I think the big thing is it's not even going to be saving some agents. It's going to save the agents that are already doing it, but I think it's going to help the agents who haven't started get into that a little bit more, because again, they have that starting point. It gives them a script, and again, maybe you don't like the script right away, but you can tweak it. You can upload, well, this is my experience, this is my market area, this is my tone of voice, and it'll adjust that for you. So I mean, I personally, it saves me hours each week. I use it every week because I put out a newsletter for our agents each week that is topical social media content that they can either take and post as is or recreate it in their own. But then again, it's getting to that starting point for some agents who are like, I know I need to do this, but I don't have anyone that can help me, or I don't have the budget to have somebody help me do this. So I think that's one of the biggest things that AI has been helping agents with.
Yeah, you make a great point. I mean, I think it amplifies AI agents' use of current technology, social media, all the things that they need to do. But it also gets people started that they were scared of doing and they didn't know how to create stuff. I think that's a great point you make. And for if you're listening, we also have an AI playbook that was recently updated that's going to be in the show notes on our podcast site at realestateaiflash.com. that will probably give you a good step-by-step to understand how to get started, where to get started, and things of that nature. So that'll probably be a good resource for you as well. So what else are you seeing, Christina, of AI use? So before we dive into how you're maybe using it, that may be different than what you see agents as well.
Yeah, well, I think one of the greatest things that I've recently discovered is Perplexity. Again, thanks to you. I was so using ChatGPT all the time because it was just what I knew. But I love how comprehensive Perplexity is when it comes up with its answers. And again, you can get really specific with the location. So we were testing it out with, we were looking at a market report for Montecito, and it came up with all these different categories, and we were just blown away by how much more advanced it is versus ChatGPT. So that's a big thing that we've been coaching agents is to also, we've shown you ChatGPT, also step over to Perplexity and try that out. And then another thing is SEO is so important on social media now. And I know I'm talking a lot about social media, but that's my world. But your captions are really important for how the platforms serve up your content. So I've really been leaning into, okay, instead of having to come up with your own caption, you can say, this is the caption that I've written for my social media post. This is the audience I'm targeting. Now let's optimize this for SEO, because if you want Instagram or Facebook or YouTube to be serving your content to people in your target markets, you want to make sure that you have SEO rich captions.
Yeah, definitely. I think you bring up a good point. We've done several episodes where we've referenced Perplexity as a great alternate for a traditional Google search. I don't think people are going to stop searching for information. I think we're in the middle of an evolution of how our behavior into seeing how people are changing, because I've not used Google. I used Google in like a month. I can't remember when I did, because I moved away from 10 blue links in Google to a Perplexity, which is more of a human style, conversational style with references to all the sources. And so if you're listening and you've not used it, you should definitely download that app today. And it's a free app for most use cases. You don't need to purchase it.
Yeah, I've been loving it. And had I not signed up for Google's beta AI search result testing when it first came out, I probably would have been on Perplexity sooner, but it's definitely a competitor for me. So I might be right there with you.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think that there's going to be, and Google's a big company. They're going to evolve. They make AI overviews, which is basically the competitor. And ChatGPT is coming up with SearchGPT, which is in a private preview now. So I think there's going to be competition for Perplexity. But I think if you embrace tools like that, I think you'll get comfortable as tools evolve and change, so you can leverage it no matter what tool you're using. So that's great. So there's clear use cases. You talk about social media, getting started with it, enhancing it, video, scripting, and then searching for information with Perplexity seems to be the three areas that you're seeing agents sort of embrace, and you're teaching them as well.
Yeah, every class that I've been teaching now, even if it's like no matter the topic, I make sure that I include and here's how you can use AI to help you achieve these goals too. Like, sure, you can do the groundwork, and I kind of teach them the basics. Then I'm like, but you can also use AI, and it'll get you there so much faster and so much more efficient.
Yeah. So let's kind of switch gears a little bit. I mean, you touched on some things. I mean, you're a marketer at heart. I mean, you're a content marketing manager. So part of your role is to teach agents, but also be more productive at the role you have as being a marketing manager for California Property. So how are you using AI to help you in your role beyond education for agents?
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, I think it's time saving. When you're in a creative role, you can get a little drained on coming up with ideas all the time, and you can kind of get stuck in a specific path. So it helps me really just kind of think outside the box sometimes. And I'll ask it a question for each month I go in, I say, okay, I'm a real estate brokerage in Southern California. These are my regions. These are the topics I want to post. What should I be sharing in October of 2024? And it'll list out a bunch of things. A lot of them are things that, I would probably have already been putting on my content calendar, but it gives me a different perspective. And then I can really just hone into it, be like, oh, I like that idea. That's really unique. Give me 10 more examples for this. So I think it's really useful in saving time and saving some creativity. It's inspiration. It's kind of like a little sidekick for me.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're listening, I mean, I think most of the audience may or may not know this, but there's a knowledge cutoff for ChatGPT. So if you have a free version or a paid version, I think the paid one goes to October 2023. So we're almost at a year now. So if you're looking for current information, there's a way to call it. You can call Browse with Bing. Browse with Bing is a feature that was a separate mode in ChatGPT. But now you can simply call it, using Browse with Bing, give me market information for Southern California or your region post August 2024. That will instruct Browse with Bing to go search the internet for the sources, bring it back, and then have a conversation with you. So you could overcome the knowledge cutoff. So there's, again, these are all prompting things you can kind of learn. And that's the reason you need to subscribe to the weekly AI newsletter. We're going to keep you up
I just
to date,
learned that.
right? We're going to keep you up to date on all this on your journey to being an AI skilled agent, which is our focus. So anything else, Christina, that's helping you in your role?
It's just any time that I'm working on something that I've even been doing for the years that I've been here, I try to stop and think, okay, what can I do to make this better with AI? Or is there an app or a tool for this that I can do? So I think just embracing that mindset has been huge for me, and I'm very excited to see where this heads.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're just in preseason, not to take a sports analogy with AI, but it truly is, because it's changing so fast for sure. So as we wind down, I always ask my guests 2 questions that I think will at least help people reflect. So I think, as much as your role is a content marketing manager, every real estate agent has a marketing brain. They need to have a marketing function. So knowing what you know now, if you had to advise your younger self, Christina, what would you say to your younger self in terms of one piece of advice that would be valuable?
To my younger self, I would say, find what you're passionate about and really embrace that, lean into it. I don't like trying to spread yourself too thin and cover too many different areas. Just lean into what you're good at, because that's when your authenticity is going to come through. It's going to make it easier to learn things. It's going to make it easier to use tools like AI because you're excited about the outcome of what you're doing. So I think that's what I would say to myself.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. I mean, I think if we can find things we love to do and focus on doing that. And I talked to an agent the other day that said, I love to help people buy and sell homes. That's really what I'd love to do. But there are things I know I need to do that I hate to do, right? That's where AI can actually help you sometimes, Automate the ordinary, like we've always said, to personalize the extraordinary, which is what you love to do anyway. So great. How about a book or a podcast that has impacted you the most that people should get a hold of or listen to?
Well, aside from this podcast, I'm not going to lie, I don't have a great answer for this question, so I'm going to avoid it a little bit and kind of change my response if that's okay.
Sure.
But I think on, the topic of AI and how much it impacts our life, I think it's so important to curate the media that we're consuming, and whether that's books, podcasts, social media. The more that we consume that aligns with our goals and our values, the more that we're going to see that. And the more that we're seeing and engaging with content that's negative or doesn't align with those goals, the more that the AI is going to push that towards us. So I think it's really important to be mindful of what are we consuming, whether it's on social media or otherwise.
Yeah, no, well said. Well said. You are who you associate with, and I think that applies to content as well, for sure. This has been fun, Christina. I appreciate it. I think that our audience will get a lot of ideas from it. You've sort of unclogged them a little bit with social media, video scripting, Perplexity, and really just, I think the power of beginning, I think, is key with anything. Nobody's keeping up, so don't worry about overload. Just start somewhere small. I think there's some key lessons here that I think the audience will enjoy. And I look forward to seeing you soon. In what town is that now?
We're going to Ojai in October. I'm very excited to have you there and to
mid-October.
have you teach all our agents.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking forward to being at your conference and spending some time with all of your agents as well. So thank you for hopping on.
Can't wait. Thanks for having me.
You made it to the end. Nice. My goal with this podcast is to elevate your AI skills every week. If you found value in the show, your goal is to follow, share with a fellow agent, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and leave us a review, as it helps us reach more agents like you.